Well, speaking of New Year resolutions, most people would usually begin the New Year with resolution. I find that it doesn't really work if you start it on the New Year. So
Mm,
what I did was I started a few days before the end of the year, so like a few days or weeks,
mm,
preferably. So if you can maintain that, whatever it is that you've decided that okay, this would be part of what I hope to do going forward, you
mm,
can put that into operation before the New Year, chances are you'll be able to carry on with it. So, but so far so good.
mm.
Resolutions are in check. I've been ticking all the boxes, and hopefully it will continue till the end of the year and going forward. But it's been fine so far.
Yeah, so for me, I don't do New Year resolutions. I flipped what you said. I flipped it in a different way. I don't have resolution. Instead, I have targets that I want to hit. We set
Oh yeah.
smart goals. We say, okay, by June I want to do this, or by October I want to do this, and I don't do it by New Year. I kind of just like you. I probably start before the year begins. I put the groundwork in, and then and I keep going because,
Yeah, that's good.
as you've said, most people will say New Year resolution, and then they never even do it at all.
Oh
you know.
yeah.
So unless your resolution is this year I'm going to give up something that you know is easily you can easily give up. I don't know if resolution actually works. But anyways, that's a topic that maybe we can explore one
Oh
of those
yeah, it
years
will be a good
in
topic.
in, in,
Yeah.
in future. But anyways, welcome back everyone to Scatteryan Podcast, another session of Scatteryan Podcast where we discuss how society influences people's behavior. I'm your guy and host that loves to roast people sometimes. Toves. Okay, and joining me today again is Dr. Morris. Please welcome back, Dr. Morris. How are you feeling today, sir?
I am feeling very, very good. It's good to be alive. It's good to be back here, healthy, and I think that's the most important thing, to be
Yeah,
healthy, good state of mind, and we're ready to go again.
fair enough, fair enough. In this particular episode, we're going to be tackling the question, not really a question, we're talking about philanthropy or charity, basically, and how it might be inspired by other people's selfless act, in quotes, or whether there's hidden motivations like social recognition, self-interest, and even tax benefit. Let's just scatter yarn about philanthropy and charity because we know that a lot of people give towards the end of the year. Like last month, people would have been giving in December for Christmas and things. People have been videoing themselves doing this charitable act. Just let's talk about it really. Now, first question I'm going to ask you, Dr. Morris, is um, the last time you donated to a cause, right? What motivated you to do it? We're not trying to judge you, just to give a
Yeah.
background idea.
What motivated me to do it? Could it be my own cause or okay, no, not really. Okay, so I'm going to shamelessly plug in something. So I'm
Go on,
actually running the 2025 Manchester Marathon,
confirmed.
and I'm raising money for Alzheimer's charity. So obviously, because I'm raising money, I'm also donating to that
Mm-hmm.
cause as well. So I would say maybe that's the last time. Maybe I'll give you the link to the donation. So if anyone wants to donate, they can,
Please, yeah.
do that. So that's me shamelessly plugging in. But yeah, I think that would be the last time for me. And obviously I was motivated because of the impact, and we know a lot of people would be affected by Alzheimer's. I think I saw a stat that says one out of every three people born today would have Alzheimer's. Or would be affected by Alzheimer's
Mm,
by the time they reach the later stages of life. So I think donating to a cause such as that affects a lot of people, and it does affect a lot of people, including sometimes off and people you might know. So I
mm.
think it is a cause that you know I'm passionate about. So that kind of motivates me to do it. So I think that's it for me for this particular one. Obviously, there are several other aspects, but we'll maybe touch on that later.
Yeah, fair enough. For me, I think I when I give to a cause, I used to think it was selfless. Not selfish. I
Yeah.
thought selfish and selfless together. I used to think it was selfless, and then actually had a reflection on it, and it turned out that actually it is selfish, and I'll talk about it in a second.
Mm.
Right. So, but overall, when I give, and I'm sure when a lot of people give, there is what psychologists refer to as helper's high. Right. You get some sense of joy and fulfillment from giving to people. Right. And then apparently that emotional reward tends to make the philanthropy or giving selfish because you're feeling good about doing it, right? Now, whether it's a good or a bad thing is different. Let me talk about why I think it's selfless, because I tend to give more to church stuff. If I'm giving to people to help the needy, I'm giving through a church. If I'm giving to just to food for people, I'm also giving through a church. Why? Because the Bible says we should do that, to help the brother, the brethren. But then I'm now thinking, is it selfish because I'm following a commandment to try to be good and make heaven? So if there was no heaven attached, would I have been doing that? That is the reflection I was asking myself, really.
Well,
You know.
if you when you put it that way,
Mm.
then I don't know. We listen and we don't judge. So, but I think the opposite, right?
Mm.
Um, well, maybe because I know that the churches, or well, most churches already have a lot of people giving them tithes, offerings, and some donations. So I would
Mhm.
rather donate to any other body, unless obviously if it's some project that is being funded by a church, I'm okay, happy to do that, but
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
would not
giving
necessarily
I'm
give to
giving
church.
to no no I'm giving projects that are funded by a church. I'm not
Oh,
giving
okay, fair
I'm
enough.
not saying like just offering. No, I'm
Oh,
talking
okay,
about like
okay.
this is we're raising funds to help this shelter.
Well,
We'll
yes,
do
by
that.
all means.
All those ones. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not just giving money to people for
I
the sake
mean,
of giving.
also I
Uh,
think
yeah.
again, this is also just Katayani. I
Yeah.
think when you maybe because you've done some self-reflection, but a
Hmm.
lot of the times when you give, you don't necessarily think about the reward that comes with it. You just give, and I think that
Yeah, I'm talking
after a
about
while,
emotional reward. Like you're happy inside when you've given. Like
exactly.
yeah, that's what I said. The psychologists refer to it as helpers high. You help people, you feel good, right? You're not feeling good because I've just done something good for somebody today. There's just that sense of joy, kind of like there's a brain chemical that release that say, okay, maybe I've helped
Yeah,
someone
it's
today. Like you've done a good thing, like something like that. But that's the question I want to ask. Is this really? It's not. I don't. Is it a bad thing? I think it's a win-win. You are helping others that actually need it, and is it bad to feel good that
no,
you've helped
it's
others?
not. I don't think it's bad to feel good.
Hmm.
I think as long as you're not doing it to get that high, you're not doing it to feel good, right? If you're doing it without thinking about that emotional reward that comes with it, or the
Hmm.
helper's high, like you put it, then um, it's it's good. It's a good thing for me. That's what I think. And I also think that once you've cultivated, because for me, I think giving is a habit.
Hmm.
I think it is. Because once you've cultivated the habit of giving, and sometimes it's not just about giving or donating your clothes, your money. No, sometimes giving could be you giving your time, giving your efforts. Because I could remember there was one time, again, I've done a lot of businesses, so this is me also. So I used to trade Bitcoin back then. So I would sell Bitcoin or any kind of crypto to people that wants to buy, and I'll
Hmm.
buy when it's low and sell to people. So I remember a friend of mine recommended somebody to buy um, crypto from me. And they did a lot of purchase, and obviously I would have made some profit from that.
Yeah.
And then that friend requested that I give them a portion uh like you
Your
need to tip
proceeds. Yeah.
me or something,
Like a
because I brought.
commission.
Yeah. But then I found that problematic. The reason I did was because when I do that for people, I don't expect any form of reward, because if we say we are friends, now this is not a business transaction. If we're transacting and you're acting as a middleman for me, then it's different. We know
Yeah.
that from the onset. But when you recommend someone to me and then you ask me to give you, to me, it then seems more transactional. So for me, that's not really giving, that's not really helping. You're taking advantage of that situation. So that's different. So that's why I say it's all about the intent. So when you give your time, your effort, whatever it is to people without any form of expectation,
Mm.
that's when I think it truly matters and it truly counts.
Okay,
So,
let's stay with that point, right? Giving without expectation. That's the point. Giving without
okay.
expectation. So, can we still call something philanthropy or charity if someone donates for a tax write-off? So there's no expectation. Yes, they'll get
Hmm.
a tax write-off, but they are still giving. Should we still call that philanthropy, or does the intention matter?
Um, I think the intention matters, but um, I think it's also good regardless, right?
Hmm.
Because if you're giving and you're going to get some benefit from it, then you're giving. It's going to
Hmm.
go towards a cause. But the intention matters, right? Because if
Ah,
you're doing it for that purpose, to say, okay, I would donate 1 million to this cause and then I'll get a tax rebate of maybe 5% as a result of that.
yeah,
Let me donate. Then it could be an issue, right? But at the same time, you're donating to a cause. And
yes,
if you're going to benefit from it, then why not? So I think it's a win-win situation.
yeah.
Um,
But you're
quite
saying intention
complicated.
matter. Okay, so let's. Is it going to be in the same shoe if someone just donates just to get public recognition? Like I said, the December period, you have seen people on the social media going giving to the homeless, just and posting on social media to generate engagement and things like that for public recognition. Is this in the same way? Should they be in the same bracket? Someone that is donating for tax write-off, and then someone that is donating to get extra followers, generate money from social media engagement, showing that they've actually given to people and or to get that public resolution recognition to say this particular artist came to give us food, so they're the best people
Mm,
in the world. Is that in the same bracket as well? Because I know it's a win-win, but can we
yeah.
still call that charity as well? Is the question I'm trying to ask? Because
I mean,
it's
it. Okay, so let me look at the.
because it's still that is selfish. It's not selfless, you know. So I think I'm saying selfish versus selfless, you know. But yeah, go ahead.
I think the first one comes from a place whereby you're you're giving, right? And you're taking advantage of what the system offers you in return, right? So you're donating to a cause. For example, some people will say instead of me to pay full taxes, then I might as well donate some, and that goes into a project I'm passionate about instead of paying it, directly to the government, and I'll get some tax write-off for that. So that way you're still giving, right? But you're just taking advantage of the system to, personalize it in a way. Now,
Yeah.
the other one, you're giving, and in some way, you're taking advantage of the system of recognition to gain some, personal favor, likes, or whatsoever. But for some strange reason, that feels a lot more selfish and self-centered. I don't know. But when you look at it from the other side, you're also giving to a cause, right? The people you're giving to appreciate that effort in most cases, and it benefits them.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's quite a complicated one.
Okay,
It's
let's put some more anecdotal example on it, right? Because we know that a
okay.
lot of billionaires give away a portion of their wealth every year. And some people say it's just to get that tax write-off, right? Critics say that the rich people try to avoid paying their fair share of taxes because of donations and giving to charity, right? And that gives them a tax break, right?
Yeah.
Should people focus on that instead of focusing more on what the money actually does? You know, we know that now that as we've categorized basically from your previous answer, I don't want to put you on the spot, but as you've
Mhm.
categorized, it's still out of selfish act, right? Yes, there's benefit to it, do it for the benefit, but at least you're giving. So I'm saying, should
Mm.
people focus more on what the money actually goes on to do instead of focusing on the reason why those billionaires and millionaires and rich people did the giving in the first place? Or
Ye-
for people like me, where I'm thinking about making heaven and I'm doing it for heaven's sake.
Yes, no, I think we should focus more on the cause. And, I mean, it is good, but the only thing I would say is when it comes to apart from billionaires and millionaires who give out that, we have everyday people. So look, maybe this is taking it outside of the question you asked. We have
No problem.
people that would, I see this a lot on social media, and
Mhm.
first thing that comes to my mind, especially when it comes to, giving, most people would go to like a charity home, because I've seen this during Christmas. I know on my status, I could see a lot of people who do that. Some people on their
Yeah.
birthdays, right? They
Mhm.
would go out and then they would give to orphanage homes, which is a kind gesture. Now, on one hand, in as much as most people fail to accept or admit, the fact that you do that, you make a video about it, and then you put it on social media, you're seeking some form of acknowledgement. That's one part. It
Mm.
could be that you're not deliberately seeking it, but it comes with the territory. You're seeking that acknowledgement. Oh, this person is kind. This person is nice, which is fine if that makes you happy.
Yeah.
But where I find a problem with it is the other flip side, which sometimes that demoralizes people. You're using people that are in a state whereby they are less privileged than you, and you're
Mm.
basically showcasing them to the world to say, "Oh, I'm doing this act of charity,"
Mm.
So for me, that could be a bit demoralizing, and also the one that I wouldn't really say pisses me off the most, but you would see people, some market women. I've seen this a lot on social media, on the
Mm.
street. They're doing their business, and someone comes up, give them um, some envelope of
So
money,
yeah,
and then
recorded
they
their
record
reaction.
it,
Yeah.
and sometimes they do that for likes, sometimes they do
Mhm.
that for, it's a business model, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I find that a bit dehumanizing in a way. I don't know, but
Mm.
um, at the same time, you're also helping these people, and
Yes.
sometimes those people are not even in a position to question the motive or intent behind that giving, so they just
True.
accept it, whether it's
Mm.
reluctantly or not. They accept it. So I think um, when we give, it's good to. The other thing that people that do that would argue is that it creates a ripple effect, to say that when you do this, people see that and they tend to, give
Mm.
more,
Fair enough.
and it could be true, right?
Yeah.
Some people would see that, oh, that's nice. They see the reaction that brings to people and they would do it.
Yeah.
But my issue is, do we have to put them out? Do we have to literally have to? I mean, if there's a way we can eliminate ourselves from the from that picture, then to me it makes a difference, right? But um, it's hard to do that without somebody, maybe someone like me, thinking and saying, "What's the motive behind that?"
Mm.
And so I think it's good, but
Yeah.
we should be more, you know, um, compassionate, and we should put the other people. How would the other person feel? And sometimes you wouldn't necessarily know how the other person would feel. You only know how you would feel if you were in that position. But sometimes most people would not be happy to be put in that position, but
Mm.
because they need that help, they would accept it either way. So I think we have to balance it, especially when we're showcasing people and how we give, but that's just one aspect I wanted to touch on.
Fair enough. Your answers made a light bulb go in my head, and I would like to ask that question. I'll take it back because you said something about sometimes people will give and video the reaction of those people, and those people are not in a space, mental space, and have emotional space, mental space, financial space to actually question the motive of why you're giving. So can we say that some people also give because of and they're manipulating people's reaction for their own benefit? Because now people are going to see that reaction and be like, oh, like this person is doing well, but they've actually manipulated those people, manipulated their emotion for their own personal gains, right? Again, that's not
Ye-
just selfishness. Now we're adding manipulation into it
yes,
again.
yes. There's I think to. especially for the ones that
Or those that will
um
give to like children that are going to die from cancer, and they still go and give them toys, knowing that they're going to go away, and then record it. Yes, it's a good thing because the children are happy of for that. But again, are they still manipulating? It's just that's the question that just popped in my head when you're talking. I was like,
um
interesting.
it's the thing I think with that is it depends. I think most people in general are kind,
Hmm.
and they don't do that with the intent of manipulation.
Obviously, yeah.
So but that doesn't mean that you're not.
Mm,
One is the intent, the other is the fact that irrespective of the fact that you're doing it with a clear mind, you're still manipulating people's emotion,
mm,
especially when there's something you benefit from it, whether it's um, likes on social media, whether it's viewership, whether it's some people, it's a business model. They give to people, they record the reaction, and they get thousands of views, and they get even more in return, right?
mm,
And so for me, that one could be problematic if you're doing it for that sole reason, right?
mm,
But at the same time, when you do give and you do things like that without any intent, with we'll say clear conscience that you're trying to help, um, it is a good thing. We should
right.
just be mindful of how we do that. Sometimes we don't necessarily need to show the people's faces, right?
Okay.
Or you could, I don't know, you could still talk about giving without actually putting it all out there like, oh, I'm trying to be good or kind. And sometimes true acts of selflessness doesn't need to be showcased as most people do. But the only benefit I see from it is that people could be motivated to also follow suit and help other people. But it's all about how we do it.
Mm.
For me, doing it with respect is very important.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then, we talk about society a lot in the Scatayan podcast. Quick question. Why is it that people tend to focus more on, let's say, a celebrity, a millionaire, a billionaire actually giving than people that just do it every day, like just give their neighbors food or, those small acts of kindness? Why do people tend to celebrate more high profile philanthropy or charity than more grassroots giving? The person that's actually helping their neighbor, um, you know, that's paying for people's food shop and things like that. Why is that celebrated more than the little giving? Like if you are to scatter yarn and give different perspectives on it, like
Okay.
what do you think is the cause?
So, um, for me, there are two things involved, right? Number one is the size of the giving, the impact or the perceived impact of that giving. For example, your next door neighbor might bring food for you, right?
Mm,
And at most, it will cost them a day's job to prepare that meal for you and bring to you. So it's not really, it's a very, very good thing, but it's on a very small scale, right?
mm,
So people tend to commonize it because to them that's more common. We see this a lot more often than not, right? But on the other side, a celebrity has the tendency to give most times larger amount of money, larger donations and so on, because not necessarily because it's big, because if we have to compare it in terms of percentages, someone that has £1 million and donates 100,000 pounds, right? And someone that has £1,000 and donates £100.
yeah,
It's the same in percentages, but the small one would feel it the most, right? The
yeah,
impact would be on the smaller donation because if you have a lower income, then it means much more to you. But to the other person that's donating 100,000, for them, it's just a small set of their income, right? So
mm,
it doesn't really carry that much weight. But because of the fact that you're doing it, it seems like a huge amount compared to what people would normally give, then it creates a lot of awareness and attention. So people tend to be fixated on it. So I think that's one explanation. Another explanation is that with most celebrities and most people that are popular in that light, they usually have a lot of followership, right?
mm,
And obviously, the more followers you get, the more exposure you would get. So
true.
the same, so someone that has 10 million followers,
Mhm.
it's likely going to get exposure and talked about by at least 10 million people when they view that, you know, and somehow it spreads. And but someone that has maybe just 50 followers on their WhatsApp and does the same thing will probably still get a proportional amount of, you know,
Yeah,
effect,
makes
but
sense.
because it's on a small scale, we don't really, it doesn't go as wide or as fast as the other one. So I think
Yeah.
that might be what's at play there, but I'm sure there are other reasons as well. I don't know if you can think of any.
Well, I can't think of any. That's why on this note we're just going to round up on some
Yeah.
would you rather with some would you rather questions. And the first one is: would you rather donate anonymously and never get recognition, or have your name on a major project but face public scrutiny over your motives? I'll ask again: would you rather donate anonymously and never get recognition, or have your name on a major project but face public scrutiny over your motives?
Now this one is tricky. The normal me would want to donate anonymously,
Hmm.
right? But the other side of me wants that public scrutiny
There we go.
because because that means that there is there is
Evidence.
something, there is no, not just an evidence. The public scrutiny means there is a debate.
Hmm.
There's something I probably that wasn't clear enough for people that warranted that debate and discussion, and it would be an avenue or an opportunity for me to explain the thought process behind it. So while it is good to be anonymous, the
Hmm.
other part I think is also very important because there are some people that might be put off by that donation or that will have concerns that I may not have thought of. So
Hmm.
if it's brought into light, then it's important for me to consider that as well.
Yeah.
So I think this one is quite tricky. It
Yeah,
sounds
but if
easy, but
in an ideal world, which one?
man, I do what I just want to be behind the scenes and donate and
Hmm, okay.
yeah, and not let anybody know about it.
Fair enough. I think that's the one I'm going to rather do as well in an ideal world, even in a normal world. Just donate, not get recognition. I don't care. I want to be. I want to give like 50 cents. It's only people that have say 50 cents give talk about him giving. Like he never talks about any of the charity works that he does. But he has the street cred of always helping people. However, if I have money, even though I don't have money right now, I'm still like giving for those things. Like I said earlier, even
Well,
though
before we go further,
yeah.
I had a thought about still on the aspect of giving and donation. So, what's your take about dependencies that comes with it? Because sometimes
Mm.
when we give too much,
This guy, you want to shake a table? Yes.
it creates a cycle of dependency, and that's
Mm.
something that I've thought about recently. So I don't know what your take on that.
Right. So my initial thoughts, well, on this will be it depends on their kind of dependency. Are they depending on it because they're lazy, or are they depending on it because they actually don't have the capacity to be able to change their situation? If it's the latter, where it is they don't have the capacity to change their situation at that point in time, then it is fine. But if it's dependency or because like I just it's easy for me. I'm just going to be lazy and accept. Then it's going to be a problem. Then obviously, someone like me, if I figure all that out, I'm not giving you any money again. But if it's just like just help me till I settle, then that is fine. That's my initial thoughts on it. Since you put me
But
on the
where
spot.
does, yeah, and that's a very valid point. Okay, so what you said is it depends on if they have the capacity. How did you phrase it?
Yeah, capacity to change their situation. So maybe let's say, for example, an immigrant that just came to the country, for example, right? Just came to
Yeah.
the country. They don't have anywhere to stay. They don't have food. They don't have regular food. They've not gotten jobs. So while they're still getting themselves settling down, that is fine. Or someone that is actually ill has not been working for a long period of time, but you know that once they get better, they're going to actually go back to work. That is fine. But if it's the one whereby it's a situation where you're giving me this house, I'm going to stay here, just keep giving money for food. I'm not going to do anything. When I need food, I'm going to come back and call you and ask you. Yeah, that one, that's a no-no from me.
Okay. But how about the other aspect of it? Because sometimes, in as much as they can't change a situation at that point in time, the fact that there is this option of um, help or assistance coming, it creates a state of, I don't know, complacency whereby you're now um, a
Right.
lot more, I don't know, I don't want to say it's somehow ties to the first one whereby not
Mm.
necessarily lazy, you're now more,
Fair.
okay, someone might rescue me,
Hmm. For me,
like,
I think I like to operate in good faith because I don't like handouts. And I like to think that majority of people also don't like handouts because when you're giving people something, even those that are videoing themselves, when people give them that envelope, you can see their reaction like, I don't want this, but I'll have to keep this, right? So that's to show that they are doing things to help their situation, but thank you for this handout at this point in time. So I would like to operate good faith that majority of people are in that situation whereby I would like to change my situation by myself, but if you help me along the way, that is fine. But I'm not depending on you to help me. I'll be fine with or without your help. So that is the other side that I want to focus more on than those that think that okay, my situation is dire. Just keep helping me and I'll survive. No problem. God will bless you as long as you keep blessing me. Those kind of ones I try to stay away from, basically.
okay, okay. Oh yes, but it's just something I thought of because sometimes we get that a lot, whereby you think you're helping people, but sometimes it's like mm, we are part of the problem, right? You're
Hmm.
helping somebody, for example, but then over a period of time, that person becomes dependent on you because they know
Hmm.
that that help would come, if not from you or from somewhere else. So it's all about how do we, while giving, also acknowledge the fact or help them
Yeah.
recognize the fact that this isn't a situation that would be repeated. Well, obviously nobody ask with the intention of asking later. Most of the times you ask, oh, maybe a one-off handout,
Hmm.
but then,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I think it's
Well,
something.
in Nigerian parlance, I never blow. And in Nigerian parlance, as Burna Boy once said, Dangote still dey find money, which means that even Dangote, as rich as he still needs help. He's still looking for more money
Yeah.
to stabilize. So if anyone is depending on me, I'm sorry, I'm still also looking for help. All right. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Right. So the second to the last would you rather is would you rather donate in an ideal world? Ideal world. Okay. Would you rather donate time volunteering for a cause or donate money and never get involved directly? So let me ask again. Would you rather donate time volunteering for a cause or donate money and never get involved directly?
I think this question again is quite tricky, and I'm going to answer it from a different point of view.
Go on then.
Time is good if
Hmm.
that's what you can donate, right? So think about somebody like Bill Gates, right? Obviously, his time would be worth a lot. Now, Bill Gates can decide to go to a food shelter and donate, some hours of his time to
Hmm.
feed the needy. But should he do that? I would say no, because if he were to put in that time into um, working, he will probably make millions in that time in which he spent. So if your income, this is how I put it, if your income surpasses the time, then it might be worth donating your financial, you know, so money instead of putting giving the time. That's how I see it. So if I'm going to make, for example, if I'm going to work a day's job and get £500 for the day's job,
Hmm.
um, and I know that that £500 can employ probably 10 people to do the job that I would have done. So I would
Hmm.
rather work, make the money, and donate that money so that way more people can be involved in the process and it'll probably be more efficient that way. That's how I see
Fair enough. Since it's an ideal question, I'll give an ideal answer and say the one I'd rather do. Right? An ideal answer will be do the one that gives you your helpers high. If volunteering time, being on the ground helping people gives you helpers high, you do that. If giving money and not being directly involved gives you your helpers high, also do that. But for me personally, I'll go with donate money and not get directly involved. All right, like yeah, just give them the money. Let those that are able to volunteer their time volunteer their time. But anyway, that is me in an ideal world. And then the last would you rather for this episode is, would you rather have the ability to inspire others to donate or the financial means to give large amount yourself?
Hmm.
Yes.
Inspire others to
Okay.
donate.
Is that the one you're going to do really, really from
No,
your
no,
heart
no,
of
no, no.
hearts?
I'm thinking about it. Or
Okay.
donate. Um,
Or have
the
the
question.
financial means to give large amount?
Hmm, that's quite tricky. It
Hmm.
depends on how I inspire others. Yes, I'll say inspire others, right?
Yeah,
It
is that
depends, but it
okay?
depends on how I would go about inspiring others. If it means
Hmm.
me um, inspiring others through what I would call unethical ways, no. But if
Hmm.
there is other ways to it, then by all means. But
All right.
yeah,
I want to believe you, but for some reason I don't. For
yeah,
me, I would say I would rather have the financial means to give a large amount of money, because if I'm giving a large amount of money, it means I have large of amount of money as well.
yeah.
So
But if you
I'd
inspire,
rather
think
have that.
about it. If you inspire others, there are people that could give. Let's say you inspire 100 people. Those
Hmm.
100 people could give way more than what you would, you know, on
Hmm.
your own. And so it takes the burden away from just one person. So that's what I'm thinking, leaning towards the other one. So, but
Fair enough.
it's all about how we go about inspiring people, you know. But yeah, but this is why we say do it in a thoughtful way.
Hmm.
Think about the other person, you know, and let's also be respectful about, putting out all these things. So things like, showcasing, you know, especially when it comes to children. Adults,
Hmm.
okay, fine, they could decide, but children, I think I find something, I don't know, there's just something off about it, but that's just me.
Fair enough. Permit me to quote Burna Boy again for this episode, second Burna Boy quote. You go explain, explain, explain because there's no evidence. Okay, so I'll never do the second
Uh,
one. So basically, where does that leave us? Maybe philanthropy is a mix of motive, self interest, social recognition, and genuine compassion. But the question is, does the balance between those motives define its value to society? I want to leave you with this thought. Is there really such a thing as a selfless act? Or do all acts of giving come from some form of reward? And if so, does that make them any less meaningful? I would like to have this conversation, we'll continue to have this conversation with you. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below on whether we are too harsh on public philanthropists or do they deserve scrutiny. Okay, send me your thoughts in the comment section below or via DM on social media. And while you're scrolling down, if you're on YouTube, please press the like button. Really appreciate it. And subscribe if you're new or yet to do so. If you're listening on other audio platforms, please click the follow button as that's going to help us a lot. Okay, I'm going to say thank you to Dr. Morris for sharing his thoughts with us. As always, very, very happy to have you here. Hope you enjoyed this episode as well,
Well,
sir.
yes, I did. And thank you for having me. And it's good to always, like we said, we just say it how we best know how we feel. So,
Mhm.
yeah, but again, these are our thoughts,
Yeah. Oh,
let's
these are
just see
just
what we
some
think.
thoughts, really.
Yeah.
These are some
hmm
thoughts that you can build on and just have a conversation, societal
Yeah.
conversation
And it's
on
always
it
good
as
to
well.
have that constant dialogue. Sometimes we are limited by our own abilities to think based on our exposure. So,
Yeah,
I can only speak based on my experience. So, other perspectives comes into play and although yeah I didn't think about this, but that's why we have these sort of conversations. But yeah, let us know
yes,
what you think about it, and hopefully we can always talk about this some other time.
exactly. Let's have a digital penny for your thoughts. Okay, thank you very much. So, until the next time, people, take care, stay curious, ask questions, question everything, and use your brain.
Oh, yes, use your
SCF.
brain.